Yeah, you know what? Does it exist? That's a question to you. I had the pleasure of taking part in a race in the workplace discussion this week. After some time, we got into that question. You know, the one that makes everyone feel super uncomfortable. No matter what their race is, they just really want to wriggle in their seats, like one of those ones. That question was, does white privilege exist? Now, I'll just save you a bit of time now. This isn't going to answer that question. This post isn't to answer that question. This post is to talk about privilege. I mean, recently I've been reading a lot about the journey of the Jews that they took after they escaped the slavery at the hands of the Egyptians in the Old Testament. I used to find it fascinating, just how privileged they seem to have this close connection to God, a personal relationship with Him. They knew about Him intimately, like you would a friend or family member. But as I'm reading it, and I'm learning, and interestingly, again, finding it quite fascinating that actually, it's quite groundbreaking that the people that they were coming into contact with, their enemies that they were being able to, overpower and all that kind of stuff that were encountering along their journey, they already knew who God was. They were aware of His actions as well, His deeds, and basically what He stood for, well before the Jews had even crossed their paths. So that privilege suddenly starts to make you go, are they privileged as we think they are? And it's no surprise that when Jesus arrives on the scene, He's clear to show that this seeming privilege the Jews had in knowing God was no longer just theirs to hold on to and indeed own. Yes, Jesus came and He preached to the Jews, He talked to the Jews, He was trying to get them into the right place. But I think He's trying to get them into the right place because their message was about to go wider. It was going to reach out to the sheep that were not the ones that they knew. His other sheep who also recognized His voice, that's the Gentiles. He came to say that salvation and that personal relationship with God was available for all. Did the Jews like this? No. Did they have a choice to make whether they would follow this approach or not? Oh yeah, they did. Did they choose to step away from that seeming privilege and indeed share that good news? Well, do you know about God? Well, you're probably a Gentile if you're watching this. You might be Jew, I don't know, but you might be a Gentile. If you're a Gentile and you know about God, then guess what? They did step away from that privilege and they did make that choice to share that. During the conversations I had this week, I found it quite fascinating to see such a diverse mix of opinion. Some people had no concept of whether white privilege exists. Some who firmly believed it did. Some who didn't believe it existed, yet some of the things they were saying, completely deny that claim. And then there was some who just didn't believe it existed. But you know what? Above all, one thing was really clear. And that was that all of us in that room believed in equal opportunities and we were keen to see that lived and breathed, not just in race, but in all things. I think I've come to realise no matter how many times you make the playing fields level and fair, separation will happen. Talk about the queen will rise to the top, the switch to the bottom, and all that kind of stuff. However, it is then the choices we make as people that determine whether opportunities for equality remain, just like the Jews and the Gentiles. Yeah, you know what? Some people don't choose to be in a position of less privilege, the same as some don't choose to be more privileged, whatever that may be. Yet there comes a point where a choice is made somewhere by someone that either prolongs the inequality or makes steps to drive equality. So let's think about our own personal lives. So this week you have a think in your sphere of influence. How can you level the playing fields? Where may there be levels of inequality that you may not have been aware of in the past but that you are aware of? What can you learn about other people's struggles to make the path clearer for them? And I'll just leave you with John chapter 10 verse 16, that verse I was sharing with you before. Jesus goes, I have other sheep that are not of this sheep pen. I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and there shall be one flock and one shepherd. That privilege can be shared. It's a choice to keep it in existence. Remain blessed.